Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight for the Intro to MusicFirst Elementary webinar. We are absolutely thrilled to have Amy Burns here as our presenter. She's the elementary music consultant for MusicFirst, and we are very excited to hear from her today. During the course of the webinar, we'll ask that you keep your microphones muted and your cameras off. Any questions that you have during the course of the webinar can be put directly into the chat or into the Q&A functionality. We're going to take time at the end of the webinar to answer your questions that you may have. But as we go along, feel free to go ahead and drop those into the chat or Q&A. To answer whether or not we will be recording this webinar, yes, we will, and we will be sending those over to you tomorrow. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Dr. Jim Frankel, the founder and director of MusicFirst. Take it away, Jim.
Thank you, Rachel, and hello, everyone. Good evening. Happy Monday. I'm absolutely ecstatic to welcome my dear friend, Amy Burns, who is our new part-time elementary education consultant. And we're very excited about the product that Amy's going to be showing you. For the last 10 years, we've been thinking and wondering and having a couple of goes at the elementary age group. We certainly do well with band, chorus, and orchestra, but we really wanted a complete curriculum. And we partnered with this amazing organization called Charanga in the United Kingdom, which is a sister company of MusicFirst. And they've put this together, years and years of work. Amy took one look at it and said, how do I get involved? So Amy, I'm going to let you take it over from here, but thank you everyone for attending, and we'll see you at the end. So Amy, all you.
Thank you so much, Jim. It's great to be here, and welcome everyone. I'm so glad to be here with you on a Monday night. I don't know, some of you are probably out of school and some of you are probably like me, still in school, but I'm going to jump right into this, and I'm using two screens. So if you ever see me looking here, I'm not trying to be impolite. I'm just trying to look at what's on my screen. So we got this to work before, and I'm happy to say there it is. We're working. Yay. This is me, and those are my daughters, my pride and joy of my life. That is Michaela, and that is Sarah. I work Far Hills Country Day School. I've been there 26 years and teaching elementary music now for 27 years. So most of it has been at this school in New Jersey. So here we go. I am so excited to be here and a part of MusicFirst since May 1st. I've always really admired Jim and all of the work he's done with MusicFirst over the last decade. And I was thrilled to be able to have this opportunity to join on. We're going to talk about MusicFirst Elementary Powered by Charanga today. And I first saw this product when Jim introduced it to me. And then if you know me, I'm also part of Midnight Music, and music teachers in Australia and New Zealand rave about this product. So it's been great to actually find out more about it from some of the countries who have been using it for years. So I'm going to talk to you today about what is MusicFirst, and we're going to talk about what it's not, and then we're actually going to do some of the activities, and I'm going to give you just a great overview of it. You will see student examples today from my own classroom, blurred out images, sorry about that, but you can actually see that what I'm talking about, I am using. So what is MusicFirst? MusicFirst is a cloud-based curriculum for elementary general music. It has curriculum maps, assessments, lesson plans, everything put into the lessons that you will see on screen. It's an on-screen resource that functions almost like an interactive textbook. And then you'll also see accompanying lesson plans, curriculum maps, assessment tools as well. You'll also see amazing creative tools that can function as standalone apps or can be used in the lesson extension activities. We love that MusicFirst Elementary Powered by Charanga is fully aligned with our national core arts standards. This involved a meticulous process to ensure that each standard is a hit in every grade level. Essentially, there were creators here that took the product that was working very well in the UK and rewrote it to fit our education system here in the States. One of the design elements you'll notice is that all lesson activities are focused on the four artistic processes around which the national standards are connected. And you can see them right on the screen: creating, performing, responding, and connecting. These have inspired all activities associated with each unit of learning. What I love about this slide here is that MusicFirst Elementary promotes active music making, or as some of my colleagues say, you're doing music, not just passive participant. You're going to do it. This is what I always have said in my webinars, is that I am an elementary music teacher. We move, we sing, we listen, we play instruments, we improvise, we compose, and we perform. And MusicFirst Elementary has all of that built into it. And one of the things I want to show really to the point of this is the improvising and composing. That element is brought in as young as kindergarten. And when I ask questions of a lot of our music educators in the States, especially elementary, those are the two concepts that they have the challenge the most of using and teaching in the classroom are improvising and composing. And you're going to see from day one this being addressed in MusicFirst Elementary. This one is great. I love this graphic of the spiral curriculum design. I don't know if you're like me, but I get into the neuroscience of teaching music, and my school supports mind brain education. So, a lot of what Music First Elementary involves that, it envelops that. And I really love that, because if you look at the spiral starting in kindergarten, you have here beat and rhythm. That's really going to be your concepts that you're going to develop during that year. As you continue through their elementary years, you can see all of the elements becoming more prominent. So just like many of the approaches you and I use in an elementary music classroom, beat is usually first. And so therefore beat is heavily taught, and there is a lot of retrieval practice going on in continued grades. And I just think that is exciting and wonderful. There's also a spiral approach to addressing social themes. So, another feature of the curriculum is that it promotes the social and emotional growth of children, and the spiral approach allows selected social themes to be revisited in more complex ways, beginning with kindergarten and extending through fifth grade. This shows the commitment to developing students' social and emotional well being, in addition to fostering musical growth. What I also love is you can take these, display them in the classroom, and you know that your lessons are going to be addressing them. So, if you're like me and you're being evaluated, and there's this box that your administrator is checking, you'll be able to have that displayed and then show it right in the lesson on when that comes in. Here, there's a high quality music for each grade level. The music involved in Music First Elementary, powered by Charanga, has public domain music as well as original music. And don't be like, "Ooh, original music. Oh no. Oh my goodness. I played these songs for the last month, and I got to tell you, even my most rambunctious first graders left my room singing the Aardvark song. I mean, just from one class. These songs are great. They are a variety of songs and styles. They're crafted in singable keys and vocal ranges for young singers. And there's instrument parts, beautiful instrument parts included. For example, if you have students who are taking band instruments are incorporated into Music First Elementary, and that was the first thing that sold me. I have a philharmonic. I'm in a small private school with 22 musicians. 10 of them are keyboards and the other 12 are acoustic. I have to write my arrangements. For the past 26 years, I've written every arrangement. And now I have Music First Elementary. I can actually just go in and grab arrangements because they have prearranged instrumentation for so many instruments. I'm not going to say all, but I'm going to say a lot of instruments. So I got to tell you, if you are like me and you're teaching where band instruments are being taught, orchestra instruments, ukuleles, Orff instruments, glockenspiels, boomwhackers, classroom instruments, you're going to love this. Detailed lesson plans. when you go into the Music First Elementary, you're looking here at just a portion of a very detailed lesson plan. So if you are a novice teacher, if you have just taken your first job, you will be able to go right in there, find the printable, download it, and hand it to your administrator. You will also be able to go through step by step, find the I can statements, and be able to teach through them. And it's really great. You'll find formative assessments, summative assessments, fabulous checklists, so many things that you can assess on, from singing to playing instruments to rhythm reading. It's all there. And they really took a lot of thorough and detailed time to make sure that you have these plans assessment materials ready to use. It's flexible. This screenshot right here, this was me about a week ago, or maybe, and updating last night, creating my first September kindergarten unit. And I can actually do that. I can add PowerPoint files or videos. I can upload them. I can upload songs. And I can take from the curriculum and make it into a unit that now I'm going to use in kindergarten in the first month. And it's covering already what I have already done in the last few years, but it's going to give it a little bit more of a better scope and sequence. So it's very, very flexible for the novice teacher who's just jumping into their first job and needing everything detailed, to that advanced teacher who's been around for years and decades and just kind of wants something to just get that scope and sequence, and then they're going to kind of take it out on their own. And I love that. So it's wonderfully flexible. And there's great opportunities for cross-curricular connections. I always tell my administrators that music is not in this little silo, not at all. Music is across the curriculum. And when they're working on things in their social studies, it's being approached in music, keeping the music intact. Music First will give you those pathways so that you can easily and intuitively make cross-curricular connections. What is Music First Elementary powered by Charanga not? Charanga, sorry, I'm always adding an O. What is it not? It is not a form of entertainment for students to passively encounter music and screens. It is not making students bystanders of the curriculum. And it's not just a random assortment of lessons on sporadic topics. There is a great sequential approach that follows the spiral design. And finally, I do want to tell you, they do have an orphan codai element, and it's currently being developed. So it's time. First of all, this will come back, but if you're like, oh my goodness, I have to check this out right now, or follow along with what Amy's doing, you can scan this QR code and go for the 30-day trial. And I encourage you to do it. A 30-day trial is always the best way. And if you're still in school, a 30-day trial that you can try with your students is a great way to jump feet first into Music First Elementary. But I am going to bring you right into the demo now. So I will bring that back. And here we go. Okay. Here we are in Music First Elementary. Here's where I'm going to be you'll get the profile of me, but don't worry. Keep your eyes focused. The focal point is Music First Elementary. Here's where you come into the home. I would highly say start with the getting started with Music First Elementary. That's what I did. That really got me right into it. But we are going to jump into a kindergarten lesson. That's what we're going to do. And then throughout the lesson, I'm going to tell you how it expands to like second grade, third grade, and then eventually fifth grade. One of the things I love about Music First Elementary is it's not too young in third, fourth, and fifth grade. Like it's great in K1 and 2, and then 3, 4, and 5 are kind of like, yes, it's an older elementary curriculum, and it doesn't seem too babyish. So here's the kindergarten units, 6 units, 36 lessons, right? There's 6 lessons in each unit. It's again flexible to work with your schedule. Do remember that you don't have to sit here and go, okay, I only have 4 weeks in September. That's what I was showing you before. I only have 4 weeks in September. So I was doing and adapting. First, I want to bring your attention up here. Key documents, assessment, and assessment printables. They really have done a fabulous job with all of this. Do you need to do a curriculum map? Well, let's view in the page. And here's the kindergarten curriculum map. Of course, you can download this and you can print this. I have to have my curriculum map online, and here it is. And you can go through it and view it for yourself. Let's talk about the musical progression guide. I also love that you can download it or look right at it in the screen. Ah, man, should check that one. My apologies. Let me go to learning objectives by each activity. So there are activities in each lesson. Understanding music, listen and respond. Those are found in each lesson. Listen, learn to sing the song. And then sometimes lessons like this one have additional, like playing the instruments, improvising. Mind you, this is lesson 2 of week 1 in MusicFirst. I'm sorry, it's week 2 of unit 1. My apologies. Compose and perform the song. So those are all of your learning objectives by activity. Some other wonderful things is your assessment guide. You can look here to find out everything that's being assessed, what you can find, your formative assessment checklist, your activity checklist. Each unit starts with an assessment, a summative assessment. It's like a pre and post assessment lesson. It always starts on unit 1, week 1, and then week 6. So you always have those. And then there's small formative assessment checklists that you can use throughout. For example, if I was over here, I can find a formative assessment checklist. I'm going to again view it in Page. I love it. And here is what I'm looking at, moves in time with a steady beat. And again, it's very flexible. I'm one who likes to have 4, so I would say not yet, developing, approaching, and achieved. But I love that this is all written out for me and I can just print it out, or maybe I can put it in Cami and just check it that way. Or maybe I'll just upload it to iDocio and use it that way. Whatever your style is, Google Docs, go for it. And you'll be able to use this and you'll be able to do these wonderfully formative assessments with your students on a variety of skills. But I gotta tell you, let's deep dive into a lesson. And I'm gonna show you one that I just did this past week with my little kindergartners. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're gonna go into the plan. When we go into the plan, you will see there are lead sheets and the lesson plan. Let's jump right into the lesson plan, and I'm going to view it again in the page. You can download it as a PDF. You can go into the tab. So in this lesson plan, what it's doing is here's the overview. A lot of lessons only have 4, understanding, listen, learn, and perform. But I love this one. It has 7 because it gets into playing, improvising, and composing. So instruments are there. You have instruments in your classroom. You should be using them even with your youngest of students. There's the social question. How can we make friends when we sing together? And then it starts with your understanding music. Here are your I can statements, right? And this is the directions for the teacher. This is your sequence of events. This is great. This is just so you know ahead of time what you're guiding the students to do. Your listen and respond will be you learning the song and the students learning the song with you. When you see these italics in the different colors, that means they're deep diving more into those. So that's helpful for you to know that that's going to be centered a little bit more. Directions again for the teacher. This I love, and my students cannot get enough of this. I'm going to show this to you. The listen and respond to the music, all age levels from 5th grade down to kindergarten, love this part of the lesson. It has higher order thinking questions. Again, another check on your administrator's checklist. It's right there built into your lesson. The did you know is fabulous. Oh my goodness, there's so many fun facts in the did you know that I'm like, are you kidding? Seriously? And it gets the students so kind of amped up and energized. The did you know goes from music, as you can see, to all the way going to science. What, that crab and lobsters have 10 legs. And then there's the assessments. And remember, it talks to you. Every lesson will remind you that you can do some sort of assessment with this. And of course, again, going into the instruments, tackling improvisation and composition. Well, let's take a look at this lesson. Do I need to click all around? No. MusicFirst Elementary is so wonderfully intuitive that you do not have to click everywhere. It's right here, click teach. I love the small amount of clicks that this curriculum has. So we're going to do it. I can't see you on screen, So you're going to do this with me. Please don't laugh at me. Join me. I hope if you have a kid around, have them join you, please. We're going to do understanding music. I'm going to full screen this one. This my students love. Now, I don't know Teams very well, so I'm going to try to talk through it, but I don't know if that you're going to be able to hear me. But just follow everything on screen, and then I'll go over some of the things you did. So here we go. We're going into understanding music. I have students who would like to do this much faster. If it's a Monday morning and they're really tired, I would amp up that tempo, but let's go. You're hearing it click. Here it goes. Now I tell my students to imitate one of the icons on screen. You will be following the animals. And I hope that didn't like, oh no, stop. I always have that looped. I hope that didn't like have any like weird hesitations or, like what Zoom would do. So, oh, good. I hear Jim. I see Jim clapping. So hopefully that didn't like pause on you. But I do want to point out a few really cool things here. So first of all, you can always just go through. Look at this right here. This is an all-inclusive classroom. Don't you love this? They can just follow a face. They don't have to be able to move their feet. That's wonderful. Following animals as opposed to following other people. I kind of love that concept. When they went through here, these are where my kids like, I'm pink, I'm brown, I'm blue. I love it. And then you saw me. This is great. I've been told by my students that only a giraffe can touch their nose. I was like, okay, but I love that. Like, get this snack out of your teeth. Here you saw me switch. I went into the settings and I actually switched to hand signs. Now, I wouldn't do this in the first week of kindergarten. That I would not do. However, I do love that you can do that. And those are really large leaps on a kindergarten level of going from high do to low do, but test it, see where they are. How do they do? Maybe they'll do really well with it. Maybe they won't. Maybe that's something you'll be working on throughout the school year. As they get older, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, even first grade, they're going to jump into improvisation and playing instruments. So they'll actually do a question response. And notation will start to come onto the screen, because what will happen is they will clap a rhythm pattern about 3 times when you're listening. Then on the 4th rhythm pattern, the notation will appear. And the question answer improvisation is so awesome because it gets those students improvising really early. All right, so let's jump into listen and respond to this song, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, when I did it last week, I didn't really want to use the video yet. I kind of like, okay, they warmed up with the video. I kind of want them off that screen. So instead, I went over here to the lead sheet. Again, one click over, and there it is. I went to the lead sheet, and I decided to sing it to them instead. And I had them do the finger motions with me. Again, cross-curricular connection. We have counting to 5 and counting backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can count to 5. Let's take it up to 10. So I actually sang this to them. And when I went, counting up to 10 is fun. Come down. Come on now, we just begun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can you count up to E? And then I stopped, and the kids actually jumped the next pitch and went 11. And I was like, oh my goodness, good job. I was so proud of them. But they totally jumped it. I was like, woohoo. Even though there wasn't the next pitch, they just instinctively went up. And I was like, oh my goodness, I love you guys. That is awesome. Of course, you can look at the lyric sheet as well. And the glockenspiel has the whole part. But then after I taught it to them, then I played the video. Now, playing the video again, you can go through and jump around to different parts. Let's listen to a little bit of this song.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Counting up to 10 is fun.
I'm going to stop it there, but I will tell you, play this once because they sing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 so often, the kids will leave singing it. But I want to show you this part. Here comes the higher order thinking skills. This is my students' favorite part. You jump over here. Do you like the music? Most of my kindergartners answered yes, but they love it when you show the answer. It doesn't matter if you do or don't share your thoughts, because you're always going to have the one kid who's just not having a good day and doesn't like anything you do. Then you jump to next. How does the music make you feel? Most of them answered happy that day. However, they could be joyful, sad, excited, tired, worried, like crying, happy. It's all good. It's all good. Again, it's that social emotional element that their feelings, they can feel their feels. Go to the next one. Does the music have a steady beat? Well, we just went through that whole understanding music. The kids really get the beat. And yes, it does. We always show the answer. Yes. and it says show how to move it. And then can you hear singing voices, speaking voices, or both? This is awesome. This is telling the kids to really listen. And again, show the answer. They answered both. They knew that. Then the did you know? This is fabulous. It starts with the jazz of the background music. Then it talks about the instruments. Then it talks about math. Then it talks about numbers. Then it talks about science. Your checklist is going crazy from your administrators who are like, oh my goodness, you just hit math and science in your music lesson. But this is about music. It's not taking away from your lesson. It's just that little did you know. So cool. The learn to sing, when you jump over here, you have the ability to just take the whole song with the video, with the score. The score is really nice. You can change the tempo. If this is challenging, bring it down. And of course, the score has the highlighted bar, so they can follow along very easily. I'm telling you, you're going to leave this webinar going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that's how the kindergartners left the other day. Play your instruments with the song. It has this very simple glockenspiel part. I don't have the notation there, and I was like, oh, I wish I had the notation, until I realized it's really right down there. And it's actually kind of neat to have the students realize that it's when you see the sound wave. So they have their boom whackers. You don't even need a pitched instrument. You could use anything. Egg shakers, go for it. And then they play along when it moves across the screen like this. I went too fast. So you will see the students actually looking here, but again, multiple modalities. Your scientists in the class are totally looking here to figure out when the next C comes. And of course, you can do this with just the backing track as well. Improvise. The improvise is great. It doesn't need to be pleasant. It needs to be creative. Let them take those creative risks. So what they do here is you play it from the beginning. Oh my goodness, my students are like, bring the tempo up, bring the tempo up. Oh, there's kindergartners using the word tempo. Woohoo! It will tell you just to use 3 notes. You can clap, you can sing, you could use a glockenspiel, a boom whacker, go for it. And they'll do it. And then, oh, I love this. There are creative tools I'm going to show you in about 10 minutes, so don't leave the webinar. You need to see their creative tools. But I do want to show you, I love the age-appropriate creative tools. They actually just build into the lesson. This is just boom whacker colors. All my colleagues know this. You just click it in there, drag it if you don't like it. I have an interactive whiteboard, so the students will come in, just click and drag and do this as a whole activity. And then you can print it, you can download it, of course you can clear it, and it plays along. And then I'm going to show you something else. My students have Prodigy bells because a parent donated sets so they could each have it. I apologize for the blurred out screen. I do have to blur out my students, but take a listen to what they did. Excellent. Go back up. My daughter was there. She had a half day. There, come on back down. And do it again. Come back on down. Excellent. Improvise. Did you notice some went down? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Some, did you hear it? They went G, 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 C, because they heard it. How awesome is that? That's one class. And they left singing it. And of course, the ending one is you can perform the song and we'll take the vocals out. You can add activities, meaning let's add some instruments. And when we get to the part in the middle, and when I show you here so you can see what I'm talking about, when we get to the form here and go down, we'll do the part right here, activity, and we'll play our instruments. Awesome, right? And look at that, showing them the form. And I love the way they do that to go with the colors down here. So that's a kindergarten lesson that I brought you through 7 activities. If I jumped over here, I'm not going to bring you through the activities again. I'm going to jump over to this redwood and I'm going to go right into the teach. Again, do you see how many clicks? It's like non-existent, like 1 to 2 clicks. I love it. When you go into here in the understanding music, I just want to point out a few things. There is now, this is the question and answer. This is improvisation. And as they continue through the song, they don't have the notation, then they do have the notation. So that helps the students listen first, but multiple modalities again. Here comes the student who needs to really see the notation. There it comes on screen for them. There's question and answers, so you have improvisation, even with instruments as well. You don't have to have instruments. I had my students do this with laws and just singing back to them. They will be singing note names. They're playing note names, so they're singing it back. And when they do an answer, I just tell them to answer on law. And they do it. They really do. They love it. And again, that's all in, as it gets older, you will see more of those older tools. Again, it's not a babyish curriculum when it gets to 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's really meant for upper elementary. What I loved about this one is when we went into the listen and respond, we went through, again, the whole questions, all those questions. But when they saw this picture, let me full screen this so I can make that a little bit better. When they saw this picture of a redwood, they were blown away. So I'm over in New Jersey. They don't really see redwoods around here. So they were blown away by this redwood and so wonderful. I read through this. This was my 2nd grade. Some of them I asked to read some of it. But then when I came to this one, what can you do to help take care of the trees in your yard, neighborhood, or city? I've got to tell you, these students were amazing to me. They were like, well, we could plant a new tree if you have to take a tree down. I mean, they were just so thoughtful. And again, it goes into like improvisation, as you saw, and the composition is different now. This is what my students were composing. So here's what I love. It can just be beat composition. This is going to show you the steady beat. You can do composition here where it's going to be just non-pitch percussion. And then you can just put in the icons or jump and add the notation. Still, if I hit play right now, you're going to hear claps. But let's jump over here. Now we can add notes. And when you start it, you could tell it 3 notes or 5 notes. So when a student puts a note on, do you notice no matter where I put it, it's only going to give them C, D, or E because that's what I assigned it. So nice. Or let's put it on the staff with note names. Or you're like, no note names, please. We'll take them away. Awesome, right? Print it. I usually take a screenshot, put it on their Seesaw so their parents can see this, and then they'll play it at home for them. Right? Awesome. Let me bring you into 3rd grade. 3rd grade, when we get into that listen and respond a little bit on this one, we get into a little bit more of, let me just show you. Let's jump into this. There we go. When we get into the listen and respond, now you have more extended learning. So there's more questions and now there's audio of samples like playing from 16 seconds from the 2-minute 24 mark. So this is great because you're not having to stop the cursor. They do it for you. And again, the understand really gets into some wonderful information. And then a lot of these in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade have these timelines. And though that looks a little frightening, it's really not. Once you click on it, the timeline doesn't highlight everything, but it's really great. It's kind of bringing music around to different timelines. And then you just click on it and it gives you more. And then just to show you those band elements, when I jumped into 5th grade, we worked on La Bamba. So this is my instrument class. So they have clarinets, saxophones in this class. And when we went to learn to play your instruments, the first thing it gave me is that I could go into these lead sheets And the lead sheet tab is going to have a C instrument, an alto clef instrument. I know I'm blowing your mind right now. A bass clef instrument, E flat instrument, F, and B flat. So if it's my saxophones, they can play this. My fifth graders at the end of the year could play this. This is great. My clarinets are not over the break. They couldn't play this. But don't worry. Jump into the sheet music. I'm going to bring this a little bit bigger so you can see this. Jump into the sheet music and go to the woodwinds. Ha! Let me find my clarinet part. And here we go. This one is written in the octave that my clarinets can play. Or my beginner clarinets can just play this 2-note melody. How awesome is this? So my flute players, they can't get over D and C yet. No flute part will work. Oh, sure it will. Go into the second oboe part. There you go. And as I continue down, I hope your mind is being blown. Here's your brass parts in 3, sometimes 4 parts. It depends on the song. No, I'm not done yet. Let's keep going. There's your percussion, glockenspiel, unpitched percussion. No, I'm not done yet. Keyboard. I told you I had 10 keyboardists in my band. Woohoo! The guitar player who would like to play in your band, the ukulele player who would like to play. Here's their part. Here's the advanced. Here's the easier. Here's the advanced guitar. Here's the easy guitar. Here's the guitarist who's studying and wants to play the melody. And don't forget our string players. I hope I just blew your mind, because when I saw that, it blew my mind. But I'm not done yet. There's more minds to be blown. And here it comes, the creative tools. I've only shown you half. Let's jump into these creative tools. These 6 creative tools. And what I'm told is that MusicFirst Elementary will grow and develop with you. Very much like other digitized products, it's going to constantly change and give you more and grow. Starting with these rhythm grids. Rhythm grids are great for those who are decoding. Anyone decoding? I'm decoding all the time. Spring is here, birds and flowers now appear. But I do not want notation, so I'm going to go into the settings and use the blobs. Perfect. Okay, they come up to the class. Spring is here, birds and flowers now appear. Okay, good. Let's go back to the settings. Let's put this on Latin. Good, okay, like it. Now let's hear it. It's going to start automatically playing, but I wouldn't have my students do that yet. What I might do is count off. 1, 2, here we go. Ti-ti-ta, ta-dee-ta, do-day, 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 da. It's just going through different counting systems. If they need to hear it first, click here. That's great. Isn't that fun? Tempo too fast? Slow it down, speed it up. Works great. You want to randomize it? Switch it around. You want to shuffle it? Nice. You want to clear it? Rhythm grids. Love. Let's go back to creative tools. Yeah, I just clicked once and got back to creative tools, by the way. I'm going to tell you that lack of clicking is, I love it. This is Music Explorer. Look at the instruments. This is great for your band students again, or just using your classroom instruments. Last week I did this with recorder. We grabbed the recorder descant. First of all, it gives you 10 ideas to use this. Thank you. This is awesome. Kindergartners could just be watching Study Beat. But my third graders, what I wanted to do was have them create their own melody that they could play along. So again, I can jump around to different ways to create it. It depends on your students. You use the one that works best for that class and those students, excuse me. So this worked best with the note names written in. Now I've already started this, but if you look at this, BAG, that's all I allow it. So that one student, and you know who that student is, who goes into your notation programs and only writes ledger lines is thwarted here. They can't do it. They have to use B, A, and G. They will be upset with you, by the way, for that. Let's watch then go into the style menu. This usually pops up first. I've already created this. And you can choose 10 different styles and 3 different tempos. Let's watch my third graders. Now, I got to tell you, and if you don't like recorder, you're not going to love this recording. But my third graders, Let me jump. There we go. My third graders had been a while since we played recorder last week. This was the first time they picked it up in probably about 3 months. So forgive me if we had a little bit more practice. You can see here's my third graders coming one at a time to my Promethean board. And then here they are playing what they wrote. That's what they wrote. Notice that it goes across the screen, the little part that you're going to watch. So it makes it very intuitive. Here you go. Rest, rest. Hold, rest, hold it. Rest, rest. That. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. I know some of you are like, that was fun, Amy. I'm like, yeah, I know that was fun. Let me bring you back in. But look what Music Explorer could do. And that's just using classroom instruments. If you're teaching band instruments, orchestra instruments, try it. It's really awesome. And then let's jump back. Creative Tools. I'm going to use the tab this time again. One click. Quick Beats is going to allow you to make some quick beats, your own beats. Percussion Writer will allow you to make classroom percussion kind of grids, which is great. I'm going to bring you into Music Notepad. Very similar to a lot of your music notation. What I love here is it has some preset items. So if I go into third grade, it has this preset item already. First of all, I love that it gives me a sketch. So my students, just like they do in class when they're about to write an essay, they have to sketch out ideas. I love that this is included. And it's already, you just hit it, one measure, treble clef, and C. You could do a quick 4 in C, but I know I need to be in G. So I'm going to go into the third grade options, which will filter out some things I don't need them to see. So we're going to go into G and hit launch. Just like the other ones, they can, let me make that bigger for you. They can just put it right on the screen. It doesn't make the sound as of right now, but that is okay. You can put note names on there. Okay, I have students with learning abilities that this is too challenging. So I'm going to go to keyboard and click the keyboard. If you go into I, it will tell you where the keyboard is. Starting on G is always the best way I can tell kids. And then what they can do is add it that way. So do you have students like that? I do, where this is too challenging to put it on screen. I'm going to take the note names back. Again, you can do continuous view, but let's go into here and I'm going to go into preferences and then I can say I want the note names on and let's do boom whacker colors. So then it's going to change that over to boom whacker colors. Oh, gave me an F sharp. Isn't that fabulous? Love it. Now, if I take the note names off, I believe the boom whacker colors will now go into, let me see if I can do it. There we go. Oh, I went into dynamics. There we go. It should change it around to boom whacker colors. It does take me a second to figure out where that happens, but it will do that for you. Very cool. That's your music notepad. Let's come out of that. Go back into Creative Tools, and the last thing I want to show you is UStudio. UStudio is the only digital audio workstation, web-based, that you can score a movie and compose music, meaning you can make the music, kind of like the combination of GarageBand and Soundtrap or BandLab, but web-based. So what I'm going to do in this one is go into Teach. Oh, I went into the YouTube. I went into tutorial videos. Go through the tutorial videos. They're very good. I'm going to go into the app, though. And I'm going to, once it loads, I'm going to go and just load one that I've been working on. There are projects in MusicFirst Elementary that actually access this. So what I was using when I did this one was I went into the back to school because that was a project that's already there. We're going to make that a little bit bigger. And you'll notice here's the video screen and here's you creating music and here's you scoring a video. If I haven't blown your mind yet, I hope that just did. That blew my mind. I mean, blew my mind. So I can kind of move this video down here, maybe go into sounds and maybe hit the drum and double click the drum and then make it, you know, a few, oops, let me get into the drum. There we go. Go into that, double click, and I can just add things into it. I am really just floating around here. But when I do that, I can close it. So let me just close that. Thank you. And now that adds on to it. Like again, I'm scoring. I really wanted that to be earlier. Let me move that over. I wanted that to be here. There we go. There it is. Wow. Right? Again, if I haven't blown your mind, I hope that did. U Studio is included in MusicFirst Elementary Powered by Charanga. I did it. I really tried to give you a really good overview of this. And now I'm going to stop presenting, put myself hopefully back full screen. I hope I'm back on the screen. Teams throws me off a little bit. It's the first time I've ever used Teams, so I hope that did okay. And now I love to answer questions. So Jim and Rachel, how did you want to do questions in the chat?
Yeah, so there were a few questions that were in the chat, Amy, that I'll just scroll back
Please.
up.
Yeah.
By the way, excellent job.
Thank you.
And there were, and my mind is blown. One
Good.
question was when you were showing, I forget which one it was, but was that Music Mind Games? I don't think that Charanga or that MusicFirst Elementary is using anything from that program. Are you familiar with Music Mind Games?
I'm not.
No.
No.
So for Tanner, that no, it isn't Music Mind Games. It's all original content within MusicFirst Elementary. There was
Tanner.
there was some comment about perhaps the curriculum is moving too fast. That in fact it's just too quick. Maybe you can talk about that.
Yes. Yeah. I totally understand where that comment comes from, especially when you're starting in kindergarten and they're doing those high and lows that are very big. I totally agree. You don't have to go in their sequence of that. And I do feel like I think the more we tell them, the more that will, just like in Australia, New Zealand, they were saying the more we told them this needed to be kind of slowed down, they would slow that down. I would definitely say on that one, I've done that one with the kindergartners, that they could not do that octave yet. And so it was a reach. Again, what I love about that cursor on the bottom is skip over it, jump over, use the arrows and skip to go to a different one. Pause it and do your own, because that's the thing. Like, I'm never bounded by any curriculum. I just love how this curriculum is pushing and moving me into a really great area with my kids.
Great, thank you. They're kind of going in reverse order now, so because they're coming in fast and furious. Is there a reason that sixth grade is not included? So for Craig, I'll answer that one. Typically, sixth grade is in middle school. And so believe it or not, there is a sixth grade curriculum. And if that's something that's of interest, we can certainly talk about it. It's $695 a year, Amy. That was the cost.
Yeah.
Yes, MusicFirst Elementary is a vendor with the Chicago Public Schools. That is sure. Again, we might talk about sixth grade. Charanga in the UK has a sixth grade curriculum. It's just that most schools here in the US are K-5 or pre-K-5, so we had to pick that. And in sixth grade, MusicFirst Classroom is really a perfect solution. We have tons of curriculum and content made for that age group. That's certainly something we can talk about. No, it's a fixed cost in terms of there's no per seat pricing. MusicFirst Elementary is a flat price. Is there any plan for including choir, choir parts with the curriculum? Do you know, Amy?
I haven't heard that. That's an awesome idea.
I love the idea.
That's an awesome idea.
Brooke brings up the multicultural music. Is there multicultural music?
Yeah, yes, there is. There is. I think one of the things I love, let me just, I know I have a slide on that one. Hold on. One of the things that I love about MusicFirst is that it includes diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging. I'm reading over here. It has a lot of multicultural music, but good music,
authentic. It's authentic.
Yes, authentic. And it's really quite beautiful. Going through, I'm still exploring it. But I do have to say, I really think they did quite well with how they include everyone.
Absolutely. Just real quick, the fee is per building, so it's $695 per building, not per teacher. So, if you're teaching at multiple schools, there's a subscription needed per building, because we're not doing a flat, like a per student price. Are there any curriculum? So to Jonathan, we're looking at EdLink and ClassLink as ways to roster students. Google Classroom is probably on its way. The development team at MusicFirst Elementary is getting now immediately inundated with lots of these types of questions, and it's all being put into the development schedule. Andrew, it does not work with Clever at the moment, but it does. That is something we're looking at. There is no monthly fee. We only charge annually. Yes, there are lessons about
Yes.
history.
Yeah. It's intertwined. That's what I love about it, Caitlin, is it's just that, like, here's Bach and let's pick the Bach video and now Bach shows up on your screen. Like, it's really intertwined with what they are learning. And that's why it's more authentic.
To Chloe, who teaches at a Catholic school, would this curriculum work for faith-based music? Now, Amy, you showed one of the lessons that you created yourself. Maybe you can talk about what you might do. You teach at a private school, which is almost, that same kind of smaller faith-based type school.
Mine is not faith-based,
Exactly. Right.
Just to clarify, in case like some administrator watches this. But I will say this, that whole thing that I'm creating the units, that's what's wonderful, is you can bring in audio files, you can bring in video files. I did ask, like, can I link in a YouTube channel, like my own YouTube channel where I create play-along videos? And one of the developers who's making this for the state said, yes, that should be possible, and she would look that up for me. So again, you can bring in your own slides, you can bring in your MP3s, you can bring in the music you need as well.
Great. Yeah, and it works on all devices. And in terms of student access, this is going to be very different than MusicFirst Classroom. One of the reasons, frankly, that MusicFirst Junior did not do well is that we thought about teachers assigning their kids work at the elementary level, and we were just told flat out by the market that that's not really something that was of interest. So what students will do is have the ability to access all of the creativity apps. So they'll be able to go in and make their own UStudio projects, their own notation projects, play around with those types of things. But this is not going to be one of those, I'm going to give you an assignment and you're going to hand me in learning management system. This is really meant to be a teacher tool with a complete, and very well thought out curriculum. But the kids are going to, if they do go home and want to do a little bit more, they'll have access to the creative apps. All right, so we are just about out of time. Maybe Rachel, give them before I go and thank Amy, why don't you give them a quick little what they might expect next, because a lot of people joined late. You're muted, Rachel.
Thanks. Thank you all for coming out on a Monday night. We have recorded this webinar and we'll be editing it and uploading it tomorrow morning. So you should get an email by tomorrow afternoon that includes the video. We also have a link to share the video with your colleagues or your friends. If you would like a free trial to MusicFirst Elementary, I have dropped a link in the chat that'll provide you with a 30-day free trial.
You and I both did that.
Well done. Great minds.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of little quick questions that were right there at the end. The answer to almost all of them is yes, there's a way to do it. Beth, talk to your account manager. We're doing something very special for current MusicFirst Junior subscribers. So please talk to your account manager. Thanks, Mr. Tom. We'd love to hear them. Please take a look at the trial. Please ask us questions. We're very, very excited about this. We think it fits a very, very strong need. And Amy, I loved your slide where it's not really entertainment. And that's not saying anything about any of our competitors.
No.
It's just saying that this is a really, really well done product. It's been used in UK schools for decades. They've just made an American version of it, and it's taken quite a while. So Amy, thank you so much. The videos of your kids using it made me smile. And if you have any questions, anyone, Amy's email address is amy@musicfirst.com. If you want to get in touch with Amy directly, I'm jim@musicfirst.com. But please fill out that trial link, and we'll get you all sorted with the free 30-day trial. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Amy. You're the best. We love you.